Students, to our lecture on fibers for composite. So in our previous lectures we have been discussing on unit 4, which is the fabrication of composites. So we have discussed earlier with the number of manufacturing methods, that is hand layup, then blow molding, then pultrusion molding, and then preform molding. So today we are moving on to the next molding process, which is the bag molding. So coming down to the introduction, this bag molding is a closed molding process. It is also called as vacuum bag molding process. So if you see this vacuum bag molding name, you can understand that the process involves the use of a bag and also the vacuum. So how that process works, that we are going to see. This is used predominantly in the aerospace industry, where the high production rate is not an important consideration. So this process is used wherever the production rate is required is less. For those kind of process only we use this technique. For those kind of products, whatever which requires a less productivity, there only we use this bag molding process. So coming down to the starting material that is used for this process, the starting material used is a prepreg. Hope you all may be knowing what is a prepreg. So this process involves the use of a prepreg, which contains the fibers in a partially cured B-staged epoxy resin. Now we will just have a brief discussion about what is meant by prepreg before going into the bag molding process. What is a prepreg? Prepregs are the pre-impregnated fibers. When the fibers are already pre-impregnated in a resin and then it is cured, whatever product we get, that is the prepreg. So prepregs are the ready-made tape composed of fibers in a polymer matrix. So here, after we take the fibers and mix it with the polymer matrix, we will cure it, but we do not completely cure it. We do only a semi curing. So these prepregs are partially cured materials. So they are partially cured B stage material, and so it requires a cold storage to prevent complete curing. We deliberately make it partially cured because for certain processes we do not want a complete curing, because once it is completely cured, since it involves the use of a thermoset type of a matrix, then it is difficult or not possible actually to restore back to its to the B stage or A stage. So this prepreg contains a release film which keeps the prepregs from sticking to each other during the storage. That is why we store it and then keep a release film also, so that a prepreg will not stick to other fibers or other prepregs. These are available in standard widths from 3 to 50 inches. You can see the diagram here. This is the prepreg. Hope you may be knowing this, since I have already taught you about this prepregs. So here in left side you can see this diagram. This also I have already explained you. You can see this is the A stage, where the A stage low molecular weight linear polymer, and this is the B stage high molecular weight, which is partly cross-linked, and this is the C stage, which is fully cross-linked. So here our prepreg lies in this region, where B stage, it is in the intermediate stage. So if it is in the B stage, it can be converted into C stage, where everything is completely cured, completely polymerized, so that we get the final composite. So it is deliberately kept at B stage, and it is stored in cold place, so that it will not undergo any kind of a reaction. Now coming down to the process, this bag molding process involves some multiple process. It is multiple steps are involved in it. The first step is the laying up process, where we lay up the material, and second step is the autoclaving step. But this laying up process involves the multiple components present in it. So we will see what is this laying up process. So before going into the process, I will show you a schematic diagram. This is the schematic diagram of a bag molding process, where you can see there are various layers that are kept. You can see one by one layers from bottom to top. This is how the laying up of the bag molding process is done. So now coming back to our discussion, so any process, be it the hand layup or bag or pultrusion or anything, there is a definitely a mold that is involved. So here the first step is there is a mold surface. That mold surface is covered with a release film, which is the Teflon coated glass fabric separator. So there is a mold surface here. You can see in this diagram. This is the surface at the bottom. You can see this is the mold surface where an aluminium tool plate it is written. So over this, the first step involves the spraying up of a release film, or you have to use a release film itself. That release film, usually what release film is used is an inert material like a Teflon sheet or a Teflon coated glass fabric separator. So what is the use of this release film? The release film is used for preventing sticking in the mold. If this release film is not more used, the whatever the composite that you have made, that will stick to the mold, which is not desirable. So over this Teflon coated glass fabric separator, you are going to keep your prepregs. So you are going to arrange the prepregs one by one here, as shown here in the diagram as a laminate. You are going to arrange the prepregs one by one depending upon the requirement. You want, depending upon the thickness that is desired, depending upon the fiber orientation that is desired, you will start arranging the prepregs. So once you arrange it, then what you do is these plies, whatever the stacks of prepregs that you have arranged, that are trimmed from the prepreg roll into desired shape, size and orientation by means of a cutting device. On depending upon the arrangement that is required, whatever is the extra, those are all cut by into the desired shape, size and orientation by, you can use a cutting device, or you can use a mat knife or a laser beam or a high speed water jet, or some trimming dies also can be used. This laying up process can be done in both ways. One is the manual layup, or you can use an automatic tape laying up machines also. Before laying up the prepreg, you need to remove the backup release film, which you have seen here. You can see here the blue one which is shown here. This is the backup release film, because you are now going to arrange the prepreg to do the molding process. So you do not need the backup release film, which will not allow the prepreg to stick to other prepreg. So you need to remove the backup release film. You will peel off that backup release film and then only you will arrange it. This is the laying up process. So here a slight compaction pressure is applied to adhere the prepreg to the Teflon coated glass fabric or to the preceding ply in the layup. So once you arrange all the prepregs, you actually give some compaction pressure also, so that what will happen, once you give some compaction pressure, whatever prepregs that are arranged, that will adhere one over the other. Okay, so that will adhere to the Teflon coated glass fabric also, or to the preceding ply in the layup, which you can see here. You can see here, this is the place where the prepregs are arranged in the form of a laminate. And then here at the bottom portion there is a porous Teflon and there is a bleeder. We will be discussing about what is its use. So once the layup process is completed, a porous release cloth and a few layer of bleeder papers are placed on the top of prepreg stack. So you can see in this diagram, there is a porous Teflon which is shown at the bottom and also at the top, and there is a bleeder paper which is kept over the porous Teflon, and here also you can see there is a bleeder which is kept below here, which is a bleeder kept below the porous Teflon, and here you can see above the laminate there is a porous Teflon and there is a bleeder. What is its use? Why we are keeping it? This porous release cloth will allow the release of any kind of a gases or any kind of a volatile substance like harden a volatile substance like any kind of a solvent, those are present, that will get removed through this porous release cloth. How it will happen? When you stack the prepreg and then subject it to the molding process, you will definitely use some heat and some pressure and some vacuum also. So because of the action of heat and the pressure, whatever components like volatile components that are present and whatever entrapped air that is present inside the prepreg, that will have to be removed. So a porous release cloth is kept over the final prepreg and also at the bottom of the prepreg, and over that porous release cloth you keep the bleeder paper, which is shown here. You can see here over this porous release cloth, you can see there is a bleeder here. This bleeder paper, what is its use? From the name itself you can understand bleeder means something which will which bleeds. So bleeder paper is something which is used for absorbing the thing which has got bleeded. So the bleeder papers are used to absorb the excess resin in the prepreg as it flows out during the molding process. Since the raw material for this process is a prepreg, you know what is a prepreg? Prepreg contains a semi-cured fibers. So when you further cure it, when you further heat it, when you heat it, what will happen? The resin will melt and it will flow. And the excess resin that is flowing out from the prepreg, that has to be absorbed by certain medium, that is the bleeder paper. So the next step is the complete layup is covered with another sheet of Teflon coated glass fabric separator, a caul plate and a thin heat resistant vacuum bag which is closed around its periphery by a sealant. You can see the diagram once again. You can see here there is a porous Teflon here and there is a bleeder here, and over this you have a non-porous Teflon, and over that you have a aluminium caul plate, and over that you have a again you have a non-porous Teflon, and over that you have a plastic breather. As I have already told you, this breather is used for allowing the removing the entrapped air that is in the prepreg, and also any kind of a volatile material that is present in the prepreg. When the prepreg was manufactured, certain resin along with some hardeners were used. So during that, certain solvents were also used for the manufacturing of prepreg. So those kind of unnecessary things has to be removed from the prepreg. So we are using a plastic breather material also over that, so that we are ensuring that the excess unnecessary materials that are removed from the surface. So now here we have an aluminium caul plate also, which is described here, where there is another sheet of a Teflon coated fabric separator and an aluminium caul plate. This caul plate is one of the important component in this bag molding process. This is otherwise called as a pressure intensifier. So we have to provide some pressure to these prepregs. Though there are various layers are stacked over each other, like a non-porous Teflon and a bleeder and the laminate, where the different layers of prepregs are arranged at different angles and different orientation, and over that you have again a porous Teflon and a bleeder. Over that you need to give some pressure also. If you give pressure, then only the prepregs will get stacked and then it will get compacted, so that the prepregs one over the other will adhere to each other to form a composite. So this aluminium caul plate is otherwise called as the pressure intensifier. So the complete layup is covered with another set of a Teflon coated glass fabric separator, a caul plate, and finally a thin heat resistant vacuum bag. So now here the name of the process has come. So the whole setup is enclosed by a vacuum bag. So what is the use of this vacuum? When this process happens by the removal of vacuum, when the vacuum, during the vacuum, the air entrapped in the prepreg, if it gets removed, so the composite that is manufactured has a better quality. You can make a better product when the air gets removed. The air that is entrapped in the prepreg gets removed. And this is the final thing, where the whole component is enclosed by a heat resistant vacuum bag. since this vacuum bag is mentioned as a heat resistant, because once all the components are enclosed in the vacuum bag, that is going to be autoclaved. That is the curing process where the polymerization of the resin is going to happen. In that process, the bag should be in such a way that it should be able to withstand the heat and pressure. It should not get affected, it should not get damaged, so that you need to use a heat resistant vacuum bag which is closed around its periphery by the sealant, where the corners of the vacuum bag are completely closed by a sealant. Sealant is nothing but like a polymeric tape, where you use some tape to cover the vacuum bag, so that it will not it will keep the total components in a vacuum. It will not allow any air to penetrate inside. So this is the schematic of bag molding process, where I have explained you about each and every component that is used for this process. I will show you one more diagram which you can see. This is one more diagram where it is shown in a different manner, where you have a mold, a tool here which is shown here. Over that you have a stacks of prepregs. You have arranged the prepregs like this, which is written here as a laminate, and over that you have a release film, a porous release film, and over that you have a bleeder, and over that you have a breather material, and finally you have a vacuum bag, and you have a sealant also, which is a polymeric tape, and here there is a vacuum line also to suck out the air that is entrapped in the prepreg. So next step is the autoclaving step. Now we have arranged everything and then covered it in a bag, and then we have removed the vacuum also. So what is the next step? We need to do the curing. The resin that is which is the semi-cured resin that is present in the prepreg, that has to polymerize completely. So the entire assembly is placed inside an autoclave, where a combination of external pressure, vacuum and heat is applied to consolidate and densify the separate place into a solid laminate. So you have to provide an external pressure also. You have already kept all the prepregs along with the bleeder papers and release cloth, and over that you have kept a call plate also to give some pressure, and that alone is not sufficient. You have to give some external pressure also when you do the curing process. So an external pressure has to be provided in, and along with the vacuum, and heat also has to be supplied, so that because of the action of the external pressure, vacuum and heat, this prepregs gets consolidated and it densifies to form a solid laminate. As I've already told you, this vacuum is applied to remove the air and then volatiles. These volatiles like solvents that are used during the prepreg manufacture, that has to be removed, while the pressure is required to consolidate individual layers into a laminate. The external application of external pressure makes the prepregs to consolidate one over the other. So as the prepreg is heated in the autoclave, the resin viscosity in the B-staged prepreg first decreases, attains a minimum, and then increases rapidly. That is a gel formation as the curing reaction begins and proceed towards completion. So when you keep this total assembly inside the autoclave, what happens is when you give some temperature to it, the resin which is the semi-cured resin that is in the prepreg, that will first melt. So that when it melts, what will happen? The viscosity will reduce, and then when you go on heating it, that time what will happen? You will maintain a particular temperature for the curing process, where you will keep the total assembly for certain time, like 1 hour or 2 hours, depending upon the requirement. So that time what will happen is, initially the resin got melted, and then it became viscosity got reduced. But once you keep it for a long time, like a dwelling time, where you keep the total assembly inside the autoclave for a long time, like 1 hour, that time what will happen? The viscosity will increase. It will become more solidified, where the curing or the cross-linking take place. As I have told you in the diagram, in the previous diagram, we are at the B stage. We will finally convert it into the, we will convert the total assembly into the C stage, where the cross-linking or the final complete cross-linking take place. So now for more clarity, I will show you a small video from the YouTube. You can see practically how this bag molding process is done. In this process, they have not used the prepregs, but they have used some sheet of fibers where they have applied some resin and they have used. But overall, from the broad perspective, this is how the bag molding process is performed.
Welcome to the Jamestown Distributors Workshop. In this project, Mike was creating a gutter for a hatch using the vacuum bagging technique. This method can be useful in many different applications, so take a look at this instructional video for some helpful tips. First, Mike covered the entire mold with tape. Then he applied wax with a rag.
This is like a release film.
To create the bag, Mike used one sheet of vacuum bag film and used double-sided tape to close the sides.
This is the sealant, which is the polymeric tape, and this is the bag.
Then he mixed the moss epoxy with a ratio of 2:1.
This is how the resin formulation is done, the resin mixing.
Here's a JD workshop tip for you. Place an ice pack in a second tray under the resin to keep it from kicking. Mike then applied the resin sparingly with a plastic spreader to the fiberglass cloth. The strips were then laid down over the edges of the mold, making sure the corners were not bunched up. Slits were cut in the cloth around the corners to help them lay flat to the mold.
So this is the laying up process and trimming of the plies. So here you can see how they are cutting the extra, that is the extra.
Here's another JD workshop tip for you. When working with resin or any other hazardous material, wear at least 2 pairs of gloves so you can remove the top pair and still work with the reserves. Next, Mike laid down strips of release fabric over the cloth.
This is the release
He used a
fabric.
paintbrush to ensure it sticks to the resin. Again, slits were cut in the corners to allow them to lay flat. Then strips of bleeder film were laid down over the release fabric.
This is the bleeder films, you can see.
Mike used a spray glue and laid down the breather. The finished mold was then placed inside of the bag.
You can see how they are keeping it inside the bag. They have arranged it everything.
The breather was then taped around the end of the vacuum tube to ensure an even airflow. The tube was then placed in the bag and taped shut. Then the vacuum was turned on, and Mike and TJ made sure that there was enough of the bag to cover the corners before all of the air was removed.
Now you can see after the air is removed how it became compacted. And
The
this-
vacuum was left on overnight to allow the resin to harden.
and this
The
is-
mold was then removed from the bag, and all of the strips of material were taken off.
So like bleeder papers, porous release films, whatever that is kept, that has to be removed.
The gutter was then pried off of the mold using plastic spreaders, and it was ready to go.
But here they have not shown that curing process, but it is cured.
Now that you've seen Mike create a gutter using the vacuum bagging technique, hopefully you have a better understanding of this procedure. To see more how-to videos, visit us on the web at jamestowndistributors.com.
So I hope now you have got some clarity how the back molding process is done, how the laying up process of the prepregs and the release cloth and the bleeder papers are arranged, and how the autoclaving is done also. So now we'll move on to the next step, which is the process parameters. Since this involves various process parameters, we will discuss each one by one. There are three important process parameters that is involved. One is the temperature, and another is the pressure, and another is the resin flow. This temperature is one of the parameter, and this varies from resin to resin catalyst system. Because of the action of temperature only, the resin gets melted and the viscosity increases, and then after certain time it viscosity initially increases and then viscosity gets reduced after certain time when you do a long time curing. So temperature is one of the important parameter in this process. Next is the pressure. An external pressure has to be given inside the autoclave, because this pressure allows all the prepregs to consolidate each other, and once it is consolidated, it will allow the resin to flow outside. So this resin flow is the next parameter which we are going to see. By the external pressure only, these prepregs are forced to combine each other, and the resin gets flowed from the prepregs. So next is the resin flow. This is the critical, most important parameter in this bag molding process. Why it is more important? Because the excess resin that is flowing out from the prepreg removes the entrapped air and the residual solvent, which removes the void content in the laminate. So you can see when the external pressure is given, and because of the external pressure, the resin flows out. So once the resin flows out from the prepregs, that is the excess resin, it removes the entrapped air, and also some volatiles like residual solvents which are used during the prepreg manufacture, that gets removed. And once it gets removed, the void content also gets finally removed in the laminate. If the void content is removed from the laminate, that gives a perfect composite where there will be good mechanical properties. And this during this resin flow, there are two things involved. One is the phase bleeding and another is the edge bleeding. What is this bleeding, phase bleeding and edge bleeding? See, for example, you have stacked all the prepreg layers over one by one over the other, and once you started the process, the autoclaving process, that time what will happen? Because of the action of heat and the external pressure that you are giving, the resin will start to flow out from the prepreg. That is why you are keeping a porous release film to allow the gases to go outside, and you are keeping over that, you are keeping a bleeder paper also. You may keep any kind of a bleeding system, like you can use a paper, or you can use a cotton fabric, or you can use a polyester fabric also, to absorb the excess resin that is flowing out. So when the resin flows out, bleeding occurs in two ways. One is the phase bleeding and another is the edge bleeding. Phase bleeding means which occurs over the thickness of the surface. Over the surface that is normal to the surface, if the resin comes out because of the presence of the external pressure, that is the phase bleeding. But over the sides, over the prepreg sides of the prepreg, if the resin flows, that is the edge bleeding. So why these two types of bleeding we are discussing here? This is also very important, because this phase bleeding is the recommended type of a bleeding during the bag molding process, because phase bleeding normally occurs in the bleeding occurs normal to the surface, over the thickness of the surface, over the thickness of the surface of the prepreg. This bleeding, the resin gets bleeded and comes outside. But whereas in the edge bleeding, the bleeding happens at the corner. Now why the phase bleeding is very important? Because phase bleeding occurs normal to the top surface of the laminate. So this happens in a short time. The bleeding happens in a short time. But whereas in the edge bleeding, when the because of the presence of external pressure, when the resin comes out and falls over the edge at the edges, it will take a longer time for the resin to flow out. So why this why this resin flow we are concerned with, the we are concerned with, because before the viscosity of the resin gets increased, that is before that gets solidified, we have to remove the volatiles and solvents from the prepreg. So, and that should happen fast. So in that case, the phase bleeding is more effective when compared to the edge bleeding. So phase bleeding is a recommended type of a bleeding during this bag molding process. And now, what are the advantages of this process? Structures fabricated with traditional hand layup techniques can become resin rich, and vacuum bagging can eliminate the problem. Since you are using a vacuum and also an external pressure and temperature, so that it will not allow the resin buildup. But unlike the hand layup process involves the use of resin, more resin, become more resin rich, which is not a preferable situation in the composite manufacture. It will not give the good strength properties. We always require the resin to be minimal and the fiber to be maximum. Next advantage is, additionally, complete fiber wet out can be accomplished if the process is done correctly. So here the fiber wet out also is possible. The fiber can be completely wet if the process is carried out correctly. And improved core bonding is also possible with vacuum bag molding. Till the core of the material, the resin gets bonded, so that we will get a proper binding of the resin with the fiber surface. So these are the advantages of this bag molding process. And disadvantages, there are many disadvantages associated with this process. One is that since we are using a epoxy resin and mostly thermoset resins and thermoplastic both are involved, but if you use a epoxy resin, for example, already the process involves too much of steps involved. That laying a process involves more components, arrangement of more components, so that it will be time consuming process. And next is the complexity. It is a complex process because it involves multiple components to be for arrangement has to be done. So it is a complex process. And another disadvantage is, in continuation with the complexity, it is difficult to get proper orientation in each ply, because since you are arranging it by hand, even if you do it in automatic manner, it is difficult to get the proper fiber orientation. And next disadvantage is ply laying up. That is, by if it is done in the manual type of a method for laying up, it may lead to improper ply layup also, and it will become a problem. And also trimming operation is also involved. You have to trim out all the prepregs, whatever you are arranging, so that the trimming operation is also is a disadvantage in this process. And next disadvantage is filament crossovers. The filament will cross one over the other, so that that will also become a problem when finally the composite gets manufactured. So there are multiple disadvantages associated with this bag molding process. And coming down to applications, it is mainly used for the process. Bag molding process is mainly used in the manufacturing of advanced composite parts. As I have shown you in the first slide itself, this process is used where the high production rate is not an important consideration. There only this process needs to be used. So it is used for making the aircraft components. And next is the military products can be manufactured from this process. So it is not used for manufacturing all the components, only selectively for certain type of components where the production rate is not important. There we use this bag molding process. So now we have come to the end of the lecture. This is about the bag molding process. This bag molding process involves the use of a vacuum bag. We use a vacuum bag to create and then we remove the excess air that is entrapped in the prepreg to help the molding process. So thanks for listening. Have a nice day.